Well, good afternoon and welcome to 4-H Shooting Sports Coordinator Coffee. You were promised today tips on fundraising. So let's start with the top 3 tips. Here you go. Number 1, have your vision of why you are raising funds before you even start to ask for money or donations. Number 2, come up with your budget that you will need to fund that vision. And then tip number 3, obvious one, go raise some funds. Again, good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are joining us from. It sounds like we have several states on today. I am Tammy Stewart. I am with Nebraska Extension and one of your level 3 coordinator trainers. And when I think about 2 of the most successful fundraisers I've been a part of, one is huge. And the vision was that we'd have a building where 4-H activities could take place and be a community spot. It's a $2.6 million budget. And of that, we had to raise $625,000. And the way that we raised those funds were number 1, sponsorships over window, doors, and naming rights. And then also using county taxpayer. The second fundraiser that I was a part of was a club that wanted to donate money to a shelter to help people that are transitioning from homelessness. And the budget, I believe, was around $1,000. And they got an old porta potty and decorated it and then had it put in people's yards and you had to pay to get rid of it. So those are my 2. And our other instructor for today or host is?
Good morning, everybody, and good afternoon and good day. This is Scott Francis from Montana. I'm the outdoor ed coordinator, and great to have everybody here. 2 of the fundraisers that I've been involved with for quite a few years is for Gallatin County. What we had the vision for was funding member development, project development, and leader development were our visions. And what we ended up having is probably anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000 per year was our budget for that. And what we ended up doing for 13 years due to COVID, we couldn't this year, but we hosted the Bar J Wranglers as a concert. They are from Jackson, Wyoming, a group of Western entertainers, incredibly successful. And then the other one that currently involved in, and I'll share that a little bit later on in the presentation, is our vision is we need a shooting venue for the 4-H youth and other shooting sports youth in Gallatin County here in the Bozeman, Belgrade area. And what we have done is it's going to be about $15,000 to $17,500 is our part of the budget to raise funds. So again, not to delve into the rest of the presentation, we'll explain that a little bit later on, but those are the 2 that I've been involved with. And fortunately, both of them have been highly successful. Nice. And the unfortunate thing is that the Bar J are retiring and going to enjoy the retired life. So that will no longer take place, doggone it. And it was an absolute wonderful experience.
How neat. So the other person helping us out today is Mr. Scott Stewart. He'll be following the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and put them in there and then he'll interject at the appropriate time. And then we'll also, after about 20 minutes here, have time for questions before we go into what's called the second cup. And the second cup is for those of you that would like to stay on beyond this half hour. You are welcome to stay on and ask questions, and it will not be recorded and put on YouTube. And so please know that that option will be available for you today too. But let's jump into more tips on fundraising. So vision it. Having a BB gun backstop where you need $250 for supplies that the volunteers are going to build is kind of like raising $15,000 for a trailer for the Western Heritage Project. But there's also some differences there too. But then you have everything in between. The archery club that needs $1,000 to replace the bows that they currently have. Or in my case right now, we're raising $5,000 to fund our ambassador program. So no matter what, you start with the vision and the budget before you really think about what is the best way to do this. And as you contemplate the best way to do this, keep in mind you always want to focus on the success story at the end. When you envision giving to the Titanic, most people want to give before the Titanic set sail and make sure that that happened. But hardly anybody wanted to give to the Titanic when it was on the bottom of the ocean floor. And so, as you're thinking about the situation, what you're raising funds for, the need, or maybe it's actually a problem, think about the success and how are you going to sell the success, the solution to that problem that you may have instead of focusing on the problem itself. So again, we begin with a vision. So Scott is in the middle of the fundraiser right now as we speak today. And Scott, will you share at this time what your vision for raising funds is, please?
So what we have is Gallatin County Shooting Sports has about anywhere from 150 to 225 youth per year in all the various disciplines. And the venue that we used for air gun, both pistol and rifle, and then trainings and etc., we are sharing that with another shooting organization here in Gallatin County, and we have teamed with them forever. And our shooting venue that we had was $500 per month per group. So it was $1,000 a month. And then due to the housing boom and availability of space, we ended up losing our venue because of the organization we were renting from chose to go a different way. So again, to be able to offer this awesome program, we needed a new venue and keep it affordable for the youth because we do charge for range fees and etc. And that was our main vision, is to keep this a high quality program and to keep it affordable for all of the families so we don't cost it out to where they cannot participate. And what we found is that the minimum rent that we had to pay was threefold. It's $3,000 per month for both of us to share. So our portion per month is $1,500 a month. So what our vision was is we needed to make sure and earn those funds in order to be able to have this shooting venue. And it fits our needs very well. It allows us to run a really, really high quality program. And this slide that you see right here, this is the introduction that we shared with folks as we started our fundraising campaign, and we'll share more as we go through this. But that's our vision, and we knew what we needed, and I know I kind of jumped a little bit, but we also needed to know what our budget was, and that's included right with this vision. So sorry about that, Tammy. I got kind of jumped the gun a little bit.
No, you're good. So today, right, because we all kind of understand each other in shooting sports, Scott gave you some of the history behind like what prompted this. But note when he goes actually out to fundraise, none of the part about not having a place, how rent went, none of that's in here, right? What he has written here that goes out to the public where they're raising funds is all about his vision. You see carrying adults in there. You see the disciplines such as archery and muzzleloading and Western heritage. You see that they're going to have fantastic experiences. So notice that his vision is right here, and that's almost your talking points that you're going to use when you go to sell the fundraiser. So the next part, now that we know Scott's vision with his county, Scott, what is the budget that you are trying to raise to fund this vision?
Well, for our air gun facility, it's going to be $15,000 for this year. And then the way the contract for the building is set over a 3-year period, it will go up to $17,500 next year. And this is just the way it is. And the housing boom in Gallatin County is just absolutely crazy. And there's nothing available to rent, and we had to jump on what we could get. And we have to make it the best possible situation. And the Gallatin Valley Sharpshooters that we work with has the same basic budget that we do. They have to come up with that half also. So, we know what it has to be. We know that we can run a high quality program for the youth. And it also offers us the opportunities to host other events, CMP shoots, American Legion, the U.S. Army match, civilian marksmanship. So we can offer a tremendous number of events for the 4-H youth and other shooting youth in the area. And we also use it statewide too. So it's something that the state program has jumped on board to assist with also.
And Scott, make sure I heard that right. Did you say the budget then is 17,500? Did I get that right?
Will be next year. For this year,
Okay.
through, I think it's 1st of November, it's a $15,000 budget. And then the last year of this 3-year contract, rental contract, will be 17,500, and it will not raise any more after that. So that gives us a budget to shoot for and to allow that vision to kind of stay pretty set of what we need to do.
Good. So you're actually kind of raising for a while here. So
Yep.
Scott,
Definitely. This is a long-term deal.
yeah. Now that we know that you have this vision of all these disciplines happening, you're going to have a great facility in which to put them in. Your budget's 17.5 that you need to raise. There are several methods that a person could use, from sponsorships to events to donation, to fund such a huge $17,000 project. Why did you decide upon, or what did you decide upon to raise the money to fund this 17.5 budget?
Well, what we chose to do was a shoot-a-thon, and I reached out to the Gallatin Valley sharpshooters and threw this idea out to other folks. And what we felt it would be really, really fun to do is to get all of the disciplines in Gallatin County, which is all of them. We can have everybody involved, because this is all, we're all in it together, and that we can use that venue not just for air gun and trainings. There's availability for 4-H meetings for the county and all of those things. So it really is a huge investment for the entire program. And as we were talking, we go, this would be really fun. And my bride, Jenny, did an absolute job of being my technical director and my proofer. And she threw lots of ideas out, and all of this work is her credit, because I sure couldn't think of all of this myself. So thank you to Jenny Francis for all of her work. She did an absolute wonderful job. But getting back to that, what we did is we just picked one of the events for each of the disciplines. And you can see on the slide there, we did a 30-shot prone match, small bore pistol, we did a 30-shot match, small bore rifle, we did an actual 3P. Archery, they shot a regular 10 rounds, score of 300, and shotgun, we had them shoot 2 lines of trap. Western Heritage, they're going to do a flat rate right now, and then working with Todd Kessner, we're going to come up with a little project for them to do when they are able to be outside shooting. So it's really, really kind of fun, and the kids really got after it. They thought it was really, really fun. And then the other thing, we put a little bit of a contest down there, is that the person that raises the most money is going to get a $100 gift card. Second place is $7,500, and the third place is a $50 gift card. And we're going to use a couple sponsors that have been absolutely fantastic to not only Gallatin County, but Montana 4-H Shooting Sports. We're going to kind of split those gift cards up between both businesses, because they've been absolutely wonderful to us. So this is just a win-win situation. We're out selling the program, telling the public what we do. And then as you get to the next point here, we're involving everybody here, which is our partners. And okay, go ahead, Tim.
Scott, the partners that you brought on board, I want you to visit about them. And then also, how did you prepare them to help achieve your vision for the program, as well as your vision for the fundraiser itself?
Well, we do a really, really good job of explaining in all of our disciplines how important it is for everybody in our county to have this awesome project, that they can grow and develop into productive citizens. We have fantastic leaders that are highly trained, and they care about kids. and they're doing an awesome job in whatever discipline they're in. That's the first thing. And the families feel like they're important and they're part of the program. That is the first thing. And they know that when their kids are with us, that their children are going to have a high quality program, which is, that's always been our desire, and it's always been the impression as long as I've been involved, which is almost 19 years. It's just a fantastic thing. And it's just a culture we've established that it's welcoming and the people know they're important, and it's easy to get them to buy in. And then we're just realistic with them and tell them exactly what the needs are and in order to offer this high quality program, what we have to do to keep it going. So this slide that you see right here is our Shoot-a-thon sponsor or pledge sheet. And what we did is we gave them two options. They could do a pledge per point, or we could also do just a flat rate. And as we're going through evaluating it right now, a lot of them did both, which was really fun, that they would go shoot their best possible score. And some of them had a dime or 15 cents or a nickel on those. So it worked out really, really well. Did I answer that question okay? Did I miss anything?
Absolutely. No, this is great. Like, so the way that you prepared the youth to be a part of this whole fundraiser was to give them this sheet where they're going to be able to record, write the thank you note, do all that.
Right.
And you have another way that you help the leaders, and talk a little bit about these instructions that you gave out to the leaders, correct?
Right. This went to the leaders as well as the shooters. This was kind of their guideline. And what we did with the pledge sheet is the pledge sheet was on one side, and then that introductory material that you shared with the vision went on the other side of the pledge sheet, so the children, when they went out there, they could show the folks what they're doing. And then this just explained the mechanics of how the fundraiser is going. And I threw an example in there for a 200-point shot. They would, if they had 3 cents a shot, it'd be $6, or if they went a nickel a shot, it'd be $12.50, however that went. And just explain to them how it ran and what date, days and times and when everything was due. He got busted with that cold weather here in January. So our shotgun portion of this has had to be pushed back about 3 weeks because we missed 2 weeks of shooting just due to the 30 below zero weather. So the nice thing is this is a real flexible fundraiser, and it went really quite well. And the other part of this is with the partners, with the kids and the families being involved, that means that they're putting a little bit of skin into the game to where they understand that this isn't just something that happens and that it becomes expected and not appreciated. They're part of the program and they're helping to run it by their efforts here doing this. And the contest has proved to be really exciting.
So Scott, as you are in the midst of this whole event fundraiser, right? We're about to talk about a couple different types of fundraisers, but what's your golden nugget of advice? What's kind of your one sentence? This is my advice if you're hosting an event fundraiser.
Making sure that you have a distinct vision. Why do you need to do the fundraiser? And sell the program. Why should folks support 4-H shooting sports? And the youth are the ones that can share that. They're the ones that are going out into the community, explaining what's important for them, how much fun they have with the kids and their buddies. And as they give those thank yous to the folks for sponsoring them, they're following the whole gamut, of being very sincere and thanking the folks for supporting us. And, and I tell every family when we have our parent meeting at the beginning of the season, I thank the families for sharing our children with us coaches and leaders. And it's an incredible honor to be able to do this because somebody did this for me as a youth, taught me how to shoot and how to hunt and how to be an ethical individual. It's my turn to give that back to the youth today. And being excited and having that vision will make this a success. And thank goodness we have been very successful. The competition has been fun.
So definitely what I'm hearing is the positive youth development doesn't stop with fundraising. Our positive youth development program goes into the fundraising. So thank you, Scott. That's awesome. I alluded to earlier that there would be some other types of fundraising that we're just going to touch base on. And so Scott went into depth on how to do that event fundraiser. And then we also have grants, donations, and sponsorships. And so when it comes to donations, remember that people give to people. So in a way, Scott's fundraiser was a little bit of a donation, right? Per shot. And so sending the youth to ask for how much do you want to sponsor per shot is the right person to send. Where if you're going to go, like in my case, to ask the county board for building space, we wanted to send a youth and an adult that knew that county board member that was in their district that the public official represented. So when you do the donation, send the right person. That's your tip for that one. And then also know what you need. Do you need money? Do you need building space or other resources, storage, things like that? Do you need equipment that somebody could give you? Or do you need human resources? We use our local banks for our annual pancake feed to fry up the pancakes or flip pancakes. So think about donations just beyond monetary, because you might not need a full-blown fundraiser. You might need, or an event, you might be able to do it simply through a donation. And then sponsorships. When it comes to sponsorships, that means there's a mutually benefiting relationship. I'm not just giving to you because you're pulling at my heartstrings. I'm giving to you because I'm usually going to want some type of marketing for my business or my organization out of it, or some type of recognition. Like I want to be a gold level or a silver level sponsor. And then the benefit to 4-H when somebody sponsors is we're going to have a pool of resources that we can draw from to run our vision and our program. So like in this case, you'll notice over on the left-hand side is the vision. Over down on the bottom right is the budget. So the budget for this outdoor showcase is $6,500 if you have the 4, the 1, and the 1,500 together. But you'll notice nowhere does it say, do you want to pay for marketing? No, what we're saying is, do you want to be a sponsor? And the mutual benefit is I get to use your money to carry out this vision, and you're going to get naming rights on the event or your name listed on a banner. So be very careful if you're asking for a donation or a sponsorship. So then that way you're not like promising, hey, it might cost me, I don't know, $1,000 for radio ads so you can be our main sponsor, when really what you needed was money versus getting people to the event. So be careful what you do on sponsorships and know what you need. And then we talked a little bit about events. This is probably something most of us go out and do. And a lot of times we have the car wash and the bake sale. If your goal is a couple $100, that makes sense, right? To get the kids involved and people see them in the community. But if your goal is into the thousands of dollars, you're probably going to want to move beyond an event and do something that's going to bring in more money. But again, the tournaments, you can get the youth involved. If you're doing a raffle, you can get the youth involved. One big thing is if you are doing a capital campaign and you're going to raise several $1,000s or maybe even more than that, hundreds of thousands for a facility, you actually want to start with an event because the event brings attention and it gives your media something to come out and cover. So then you can launch into the sponsorships, the donations to raise the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So kind of keep that in mind that you would want to start with an event for publicity's sake, but not necessarily to raise the couple $100,000. So again, you're going to notice at the top of these slides, it has page numbers. That's because that is where you find these exercises and working through them in the coordinator workbook. So those of you that have been certified in coordinator, these are the pages that you'll want to go back and revisit and work through those exercises. This page 52 will take you through what is your vision, what is your budget, therefore what type of fundraiser do you need, and who are the partners to bring it on board. If you're the only one out raising funds, it's probably time to go back and revisit the vision and see who you need to get involved to help you carry out that vision. So with that, let's take some questions that people have before we go into our second cup and before we unveil our next coordinator coffee topics. So
Tammy, can I add one thing really quick?
absolutely.
One thing that was really exciting with this shoot-a-thon is some of the old 4-H alum I ran into, and they found out about this, and they go, please share all that information with me, because we're going to share this with all of our coworkers at our business. And because we've been fortunate enough to have such an absolute awesome working relationship with our Rod and Gun Club here in the Valley for both the state and the county, that I was able to put all of this information in a membership newsletter, which goes out to about 2,000 families, which is just absolutely incredible. And we've already had folks committing to donating that are either not involved anymore or just love supporting the program. So yeah, again, it's one of those things, you build those relationships with those partners that it's a win-win situation. So with that, I'm going to be quiet.
So you can type your question in the chat or unmute yourself and let's hear what's on your mind.
So Tammy, is there a way that people can get access to the materials you mentioned that haven't been through the coordinator training?
I bet that we could share out some worksheets that could take them through that. Yeah, I don't know why we couldn't do that. Yeah, we can get some of those worksheets out. We'll link it with where we put the recording and where we put the slides today. We can give you a couple of those worksheets to help you out there. Good question.
So when she says the link, everybody up above in the chat, there is a link. That's where all these recordings are at. So that's where it will be.
So Jeremiah has a question. He was going to ask if anybody had ever worked with CMP, the Civilian Marksmanship Program, before. Scott mentioned that he did. Has anybody else worked with CMP in the past?
I can touch on that if you want, Tammy.
Yeah, go for it.
The civilian marksmanship, we always host the CMP match here in Montana for the kids that belong not only to 4-H but to other events. So they most of the time come to the Bozeman area to shoot. The other thing that the civilian marksmanship program does offer is there is a high power program for youth where they can shoot 2, 4, 6, and 800 yard targets, and they have the firearms and the people to available to help that. And our 4-H small bore kids do get involved with that and have a great time. And they have great resources, great educational resources, and they have a lot of people that if you get them on board as develop that network, you have a potential for finding more shooting sports leaders that have an absolute wonderful knowledge base.
A lot of extra connections there. How awesome. And PR, right, for 4-H. So Charles shared that CMP has a $200 grant donation to state programs. NC also works with them on CMP Eastern Games, and our youth shoot the rimfire match. How cool. Very neat. Well, we're about ready to get started on the second cup of coffee, but before we do that, and those of you that can only attend for a half hour, log off. I want to share what's coming up next. So the next coordinator coffee, as you know, are the first Friday of each month is when we have them scheduled. And so if you signed up for today, you're signed up through December, which is kind of exciting. But April 2nd is our next one, and it's called Got Success. And this is how do you use success markers to set your youth and your 4-H club up for the success that you would like to see. So that will be that month. And we're already telling you what's coming up in May, and it's Got Champions. And so this is going to be a little walkthrough of when you get to Grand Island, Nebraska to the national championships, what is that like? And we're going to hear from some of the people that have been there and give you some tips. Now, to be clear, this will not be discipline specific. So we're not going to hear like, how do you bet the best at the rifle? Or how do you be best at the archery range? It's what do you encounter when you get to Grand Island? And how can we set the coordinators up for success and the coaches up for success for that positive youth development experience when the kids aren't shooting? Because the other stuff they'll practice before they come. So with that, before we get into our second cut, we just like everybody to say, or we have to say thank you to everybody. Thanks, Scott, for hosting coordinator coffee with us today. And remember, fundraising begins with that vision. Then you come up with your budget, and then you find the right method of fundraising to raise the amount of money that you're needing or the supplies or equipment, and bringing on the right partners. So with that, we will officially stop the recording, and we'll see everybody back next month.